Nicole Richie has completely transformed her body since she first came on the scene in The Simple Life in 2003. She was kind of pudgy, and she was known as the fat one.
Thin is in Hollywood, but have some people gone too far?
Arms were disgusting. There's no fat left on this girl.
From 2003 to 2006, her weight dropped from 125 to about 90 pounds.
If she continues this way, she's going to have serious medical problems.
I'm not I do not have an disorder. I have nothing of that level at all.
Nicole Richie was hurt by the media and pushed into a sick lifestyle. With constant criticism on her weight, Nicole started punishing herself and her body, even when she admitted that she needs help. The press didn't go easy on her, and it's a miracle that she survived. So let's get into it. If you aren't subscribed to the Let's Get Into It podcast, then you're only getting half the tea. For longer videos, deep dives, and of course, more of me, subscribe to the Let's Get Into It podcast listed in the description below. You guys know I love to dive into pop culture history, and recently I was doing a video on Nicole Richie, and I realized that she had gone through hell dealing with the media and her body issues. I mean, everyone has their own struggles with their body and eating. Sometimes it's more apparent than others, and Nicole Richie was going through something, and the media did not go easy on her. Her friends also turned against her. Like, I'll never forget that when Paris Hilton was commenting about Nicole Richie weight, she said that she was gross and that she looked sickly. I mean, nowadays we've been apologizing to celebrities like Britney Spears and Jessica Simpson for what they had gone through in the early 2000s, but it doesn't seem like we really ever talk about what Nicole Richie endured. The world was first introduced to Nicole Richie in 2003 through The Simple Life. The media told us that she was fat and society believed them. Of course, Nicole Richie wasn't fat at all, but next to Paris Hilton, it was easy for them to argue their case. It was the early 2000s, times were different. We just came out of the 90s where the heroin chic look was in, and people really liked that stick figure body type, which is really unattainable. And honestly, I am so glad that I live in this. I'm growing up in this generation to where at least it's better, because back then it wasn't easy. The tabloids also reported on Nicole's drug problems before the series had even aired. And when she lost weight in 2005, they started to diagnose her with an ED. So really, this show just put her on the map and in a position to be torn apart. Now, before The Simple Life aired in 2003, Nicole Richie was already known as being a wild child. Walking in a fashion show back in 2004, Nicole pulled her top up to reveal her nipple piercing, saying, quote, "I was excited and wanted to show everybody." She also said, "I've gone through so much in my life that pulling my top up doesn't seem like that big of a deal to her." And you must admit, this is definitely a moment. We'll call it a moment, but yeah, I don't know if the designer wanted her to do this, but she wanted to show it off. Now, Nicole Richie hasn't had it easy. She's had her issues with drugs, and the tabloids had a relentless obsession with her weight. Before filming the first season of The Simple Life, Nicole had just gotten out of rehab where she gained weight as part of her treatment. A few years later, Nicole shocked everybody with her new, thinner image when she returned for season 3 of The Simple Life. Now, while this new appearance that Nicole had was shocking to a lot of people, it's how she looked before she had gone into rehab before the show aired. She said, "When we were promoting the first season, people would ask me how I felt being a voluptuous woman. It was weird because I've been skinny my whole life. I can show you pictures of me the day I left for rehab." So really, Nicole is saying that she didn't lose weight. She more of gained weight and then got back to her normal status after leaving rehab. But nonetheless, people were not buying that in the tabloids.
Nicole Richie has completely transformed her body since she first came on the scene in The Simple Life in 2003. She was kind of pudgy, and she was known as the fat one.
Flash forward a couple of years, Nicole looks like a completely different person.
I wonder what the implications are of these people just sitting there and talking about this person's body, having 4 or 5 different experts weigh in, commentators talking about how she looks. I mean, that has to have some weight or value or impact on her mental ability to, understand herself or to see herself or to value how she looks. I mean, let's be honest. At first they're saying she's voluptuous, she's like plus size, she's too big. Now she's where she feels comfortable, at least what she's saying. And people are calling her out, saying that she's got a skin and bones diet. The media had diagrams of Nicole's body in May and August of the same year, comparing the two photos to show exactly where the weight had fallen off within those 3 months. What the hell? Strong imagery of Nicole appearing rather skinny dominated the press cycle in 2005 and 2006, particularly overused photos of her in a light blue bikini, of her in an orange dress, and her hanging out with Lindsay Lohan. It didn't take long for the tabloids to start diagnosing Nicole with anorexia, while simultaneously talking about how other celebrities were losing weight to achieve their stick-thin looks. So we've got some people praising this skinny diet and them losing weight, and then we've got other people who are shaming those who are thin, and really there's no winning in the press. They were antagonizing both Lindsay Lohan and Nicole Richie so much that these girls started playing into their narrative.
You look really skinny, I have to tell you.
I mean, you look really skinny.
No, you look really skinny.
It is kind of funny to see them take ownership of it, saying like, no, you're really skinny. Oh, you're really skinny. And it just kind of shows how, I like that they're mocking the press because it is just so unserious. And I'm glad that they're strong enough to not allow it to eat them alive. But they are strong, but there has to be something that bothers them about this. I mean, they did do this little bit to make fun of them and to kind of slam the media for pointing out their skinniness and trying to show them how ridiculous that really is.
Thin is in Hollywood, but have some people gone too far? Hey everybody, I'm Juliana DePandy. It is hard not to notice the shrinking stars on the red carpet these days. Lindsay and Nicole's new figures are big news, and friends are worried about their alarming weight loss.
Now, Nicole finally addressed these rumors that she was sick in her infamous 2006 interview with Vanity Fair titled Nicole Weighs In. What? Oh my gosh, everyone is evil. She says, it upsets me. I know I'm too thin right now, so I wouldn't want any young girl looking at me saying that's what I want to look like. I do know they will, which is another reason why I really need to do something about it. I'm not happy with the way I look right now. She claims she had a bad breakup and it eats her up inside, and when she's upset about something, referring to her broken engagement with this guy named Adam, I get really stressed out and I do lose my appetite, but I do force myself to eat. I tried to put on the weight eating burritos, but that wasn't working, so I started seeing a nutritionist and a doctor, which I totally get. I am sometimes when I'm depressed, I'll either eat a lot or I won't eat. I would rather have the latter, but yeah, it does happen. I do recognize that I have a problem and I want to be responsible and fix it. I'm on the right path right now. And honestly, that is so just mature of Nicole to say, I have a problem, I'm working on it, I'm getting help, with all of these people terrorizing her. And I mean terrorizing her. She added, a few days ago, I was walking to my car like a normal person and one of the paparazzi just screamed the most vulgar things to me and I just broke down. She says, I do not leave my house, and if I do, I go with a group of people. It's not right. I feel like I'm being attacked. And I mean, look at her. She's out here trying to eat, trying to get food, and these people will not leave her be. I mean, this person wrote, celebrities who pretend to eat for the paparazzi. Wow. Now, even though Nicole opened up about having issues in her Vanity Fair article, it took her time to get to that point. And there were instances where she went online and said, I don't have a problem, leave me alone. And it's annoying that she even has to sit here and explain this to them.
I'm not I do not have an disorder. I have nothing of that level at all.
So maybe Nicole is a little bit in denial there. She's trying to protect herself. An eating disorder is a mental illness. You cannot explain exactly, your behavior doesn't always line up to what you really think, and you're still figuring yourself out. But she didn't really get that opportunity. I mean, the media just constantly analyzed her, everything she said and she did, and there was no pleasing anyone.
There were these shocking pictures that came out of her where her bathing suit is just hanging off of her body.
Her arms were disgusting. There's no fat left on this girl.
Hardly a week went by without the media attacking her for dropping more weight.
Like, what kind of man sits there and says that, like, a woman's arms are disgusting? I don't care if he's a gay man or who it is, just that is, maybe that's the Southern in me. I would never speak about a woman's figure that way. Now, that Vanity Fair article where Nicole Richie opened up, it kind of worked against her, because whoever wrote this article said that she was in denial, that she is sick, and even though she was, like, kind of taking ownership and saying, like, yeah, I have a problem, I want to get fixed, I'm, seeing a nutritionist. They write, although Nicole doesn't believe she's anorexic, she knows that others suspect that she's simply in denial, a hallmark of the disorder. So it's really sad that she actually got vulnerable with this magazine, and they decided to get like health experts and all these people to criticize what she said to them when she actually was being vulnerable and opening up about the problems she was experiencing.
Of all the skinny minis in Hollywood, Nicole Richie could be the most shockingly thin of them all.
Nicole is the poster child for this whole idea of super skinny celebrities.
I mean, the fact that VH1 did a whole episode about Nicole's body and breaking down every part of it. I mean, can you imagine why she wouldn't want to fully say, like, I have this or I have these issues? I mean, even though she was being open there, I respect that she was. She doesn't even have to be, because it seems like no matter what she says, they're going to then criticize her. And imagine how this affects other people who have EDs, who are just normal citizens watching the celebrities' experiences. At the same time, we're being told to look this way while also shaming the women that do.
She's very petite, only 5'1", and yet from 2003 to 2006, her weight dropped from 125 to about 90 pounds.
Like, how do these people even have the numbers? Like, Nicole Richie's not out here telling people her weight. So why are these people so obsessed? And yeah, how did you get the numbers? Is that like a guesstimate? In 2006, Nicole spoke to Glamour magazine, reiterating that she does not have an ED. Quote, I have days where I'm up till 4:30 in the morning and still filming to 11 p.m. Am I thin? Yes, no doubt about it. But to say I'm on the verge of death is just untrue. They report that Nicole does still go to the gym despite having no fat to burn. All right, how do you know she has no fat to burn? Whatever. I'll squeeze in a workout, she says, when I have time, but I don't do any cardio. I don't need to. I'm too thin. She's literally telling everyone I'm too thin. So why are you bullying her about being too thin? And she says she eats whatever she likes. So at least she's not on drugs again. I mean, that would be my concern. Nobody's bringing up like I guess they're assuming that she's having an ED, maybe not relapsing, but like, I mean, clearly, I don't think she's on drugs here, but it's interesting they just kind of forgot that part of her history. She says, I eat everything I always have, contrary to what people think. She goes on to say that stress is a big part of her weight management issues, and people don't realize how much stress can affect it, which totally, I mean, a death in your life, like a death in the family, something traumatic that happens, like it changes you.
In June 2006, Nicole Richie came out in Vanity Fair and admitted that she did have a problem. Nicole Richie said she was seeing a doctor, she was seeing a nutritionist, and she was eating a lot of extra food and trying to gain weight.
Even Nicole's dad, Lionel, went on ABC's 2020 and tried to explain why his daughter was so slim.
She's not an eating disorder, she's just, her nerves affects her in weight.
As someone who's now exploring like my mental stability, I'm realizing there are things that I do that like are stress or anxiety manifesting, depression manifesting in your body. And it is a very like physical thing. I always thought like the brain, like the mind and the body were like somewhat like separated. But like now that I've gotten to know my emotions a little bit more, I'm realizing like, oh, this is why I'm like so tense or tight in this area or shaking or my legs moving, because it really does go through your entire soul. And I'm sure this like defense she has against the world isn't making it any easier.
You can see the prominence of her ribs coming out of her sternum. If I saw that picture without her face on it, I think that she would be someone who's old, in her 60s or 70s. If she continues this way, she's going to have serious medical problems. Bone deformities and osteoporosis. She could have menstrual problems. This isn't about looking good or looking bad. Her life is in jeopardy.
And I think that's something the press doesn't get about Nicole. It's not about looking good or looking bad. I mean, even when people were saying that she was a voluptuous woman, she wasn't saying that she was hating herself because of that. She was surprised because she's just never been that way. But in March 2007, after reportedly being hospitalized due to dehydration while on the set of The Simple Life, Nicole was diagnosed with hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar, which also is another reason why weight gain is difficult. Nicole said, even though it's not good news, it's good news to me because I didn't know why I was having so many problems. That same year, by August, In Touch Weekly had an article titled Scary Skinny with Nicole on the cover, which she was aware of, but she no longer was interested in this narrative after having addressed it endlessly, telling everyone, like, she's working on it. Nicole said, people just have to get over it. It's exhausting to care about what the tabloids think of you. It's a false world. A few years later in 2010, Nicole addressed that Vanity Fair article where they screwed her over, saying that she was in denial and had an ED. Well, she goes on to say, I definitely felt like it was unfair to say someone has an ED when they don't. It's extremely insulting and irresponsible. An ED is serious and it's a disease. I don't think you can take that lightly when someone says they has a disease unless they are openly telling you they do. She said, look, if I had this eating disorder, if I had these issues, I've been so open in my life. I've told you guys everything. I'm out here flashing my nipple like on the, on the runway to show you guys because I'm excited. I don't think she's one to shy away from sharing too much. So the fact that she has been so open with other things, it makes me believe her, because if she had this issue, she would probably own it. Things changed quickly for Nicole when she found out she was pregnant in 2007. She and Joel sat down with Diane Sawyer to discuss her pregnancy and how she's changed as a person. Quote, I would really want to be someone my child would look up to. Speaking about the drug, saying, I don't take anything now. Nicole was awaiting an upcoming 4-day jail sentence, which she only served 82 minutes of for her DUI arrest in 2006. She said it leaves her feeling afraid of the unknown, but this is the way of being an adult, saying that after getting pregnant, she's had a transformation and she no longer wants to put herself in dangerous situations because she doesn't want her child not to have someone to rely on.
A baby. Nicole Richie is now 4 months pregnant, and she says it is time to take responsibility for her actions.
I never took it seriously before. And as horrible as that sounds, I'm in a completely different place right now. I owe the baby my life, and I have a responsibility now. I have to really be someone that I would want my child to look up to.
Honestly, kudos for Nicole for having that moment and for sharing it, and she looks happy and great and healthy. They did talk about Nicole's weight. Of course, she claims that she's constantly hungry. She's eating at least every hour and she's pregnant, so she's not like skipping out on meals. In addition to her pregnancy, Nicole changed the media cycle in October 2008 when she launched her own fashion brand, House of Harlow. The brand started off as a costume jewelry line, but quickly evolved into a full lifestyle brand and has expanded into clothing, footwear, accessories, and much more. Nicole claims that once she got into business, she never looked back, and she didn't really want to get into, reality TV or to live like Paris Hilton does. But that didn't last long, because she ended up having a scripted reality show called Candidly Nicole, which aired from 2014 through 2015, which, reminded everyone that Nicole was fun, she was adventurous, she was a great time, but it didn't last long. Nowadays, Nicole does do some interviews, but she's really been just taking a back seat and, living as a mother, raising her kids and doing her own thing. And honestly, good for Nicole for surviving everything she had gone through with the media, because a lot of people wouldn't have been able to survive through that or just have absolutely no self-worth. So I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. It's so crazy to see what these people have gone through in the media, and they deserve an apology. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in a new video soon. Bye, guys.